Pluto, the planet hidden in the dark corners of our solar system and the depths of space, which was once the 9th planet of our solar system. It had found a place in the imaginations of people and scientists. Since its discovery in 1930, Pluto has remained a mystery to us. But in 2015, the New Horizons spacecraft made a historic flyby. And then we received some images of Pluto like these. Scientists were amazed because there were far more mysterious things happening on Pluto than we had expected. New Horizons had revealed the dynamic and complex world of Pluto to us, where we could see huge glaciers, tall mountains, and a faint and hazy atmosphere. But as we studied Pluto, a very strange question emerged. Is there life hidden somewhere in Pluto's icy world? At first glance, Pluto doesn't seem like it's made for life at all. It's extremely cold. The temperature there falls to about minus 225 degrees Celsius. It's very far from the sun, where even sunlight reaches in a very small amount. Despite such harsh conditions, some recent discoveries have astonished scientists. These discoveries suggest that the ingredients necessary for life are present on Pluto, but they are buried beneath Pluto's frozen surface. Today, we are going to explore the possibilities of life scattered on Pluto. We will examine the conditions on that planet. We will also look at some surprising discoveries by New Horizons, which indicate the possibility of life in Pluto's extreme environment. It's a big question. Despite such harsh conditions, could Pluto still be harboring life? Pluto's conditions. To understand the possibility of life on Pluto, we first need to understand the conditions present on this dwarf planet, located in the Kuiper belt, a region that is much farther than the last planet of our solar system, Neptune. This area has many such bodies. It is believed that these bodies are remnants of our early solar system. Pluto is also in this region. It is just one of these bodies. This is an extremely cold and frozen world. Its surface is mainly made of nitrogen ice. It contains traces of methane, carbon monoxide, and water ice. The surface temperature of Pluto is considered to be among the lowest in the solar system, where the average temperature remains minus 225 degrees Celsius. Such extreme temperatures mean that if there is any water on Pluto, it would be completely frozen solid. The kind of life we know cannot survive in such harsh conditions. However, recent discoveries. These suggest that Pluto may not be as harsh for life as it appears. Scientists have seen some rays of hope here. The most strange discovery made by National Aeronautics and Space Administration's Near-Earth Object Horizon mission. It's about the presence of subsurface oceans beneath Pluto's surface. The discovery of this hidden ocean came to light by observing a surface feature on Pluto, Sputnik Planitia, or the large heart-shaped region present on Pluto. It is believed that this area is made up of nitrogen and methane ice. This region is completely smooth, except for one or two craters. No pits are visible here. This plain area is believed to have been geologically active in its recent past. Vyconic is confident that with the help of subsurface oceans on Pluto, all the features they are seeing on Pluto can be explained. And we have seen this effect on Pluto's surface as well. New Horizon also detected ammonia on Pluto's surface, which further strengthens our belief in the existence of oceans of water beneath Pluto's surface, because ammonia acts like an anti-freezing agent, which lowers the freezing point of water significantly. Even when the temperature drops below zero, it doesn't freeze. If subsurface oceans exist on Pluto, then they could be an ideal place for life. It doesn't freeze even in the oceans. As far as we have understood Pluto, there is no end to the possibilities here. Understanding Pluto opens endless possibilities. Another New Horizons mission surprise. Astonishing discoveries. There was evidence of ongoing geological activities on Pluto. Before the flyby, scientists thought that Pluto was a cold and dead world where there would be no geological activity. But what they saw was a landscape that was completely different from their expectations. On Pluto's surface, you can see many different types of terrains. There are some very large plain areas. There are some big peaks and mountains, and in some places, there are deep valleys. But a very large heart-shaped region, Sputnik Planitia, was found to be the most unusual. This region is a very large icy flat area, which is mostly made of nitrogen ice. And its surface appears to have formed recently. More evidence of geological activity on Pluto was also found in its mountains, which are primarily made of water ice. These mountains are up to 3,500 meters high. The fact that these mountains are so tall and large means that there is something special about them. Mountains made of water ice and plains of nitrogen ice on Pluto show a complex and active geological landscape. But one question that was troubling scientists was, what exactly is driving these activities on Pluto? The thermal energy generated by radioactive decay in Pluto's core was considered as a possible explanation. When radioactive elements break down, they release heat. This heat is so intense that it can drive subsurface oceans and geological activities on Pluto's surface. Another strange possibility is cryovolcanism, or in other words, ice volcanoes. On Pluto, instead of molten rock or lava like traditional volcanoes, does not come out. Instead, the volcanoes here erupt things like water, ammonia, and methane. But molten doesn't come out like traditional volcanoes. Instead, things like ammonia and methane erupt here. The discovery of active geology on Pluto further increases the possibilities of life on this planet. On Earth too, geological activities play a major role in supporting life. If the same activities are happening on Pluto as well, then surely the possibility of life beneath Pluto increases. Discovering subsurface oceans and geological activity on Pluto raises many questions. Can life exist in these extreme environments? To answer this, we need to know what the conditions for life are like on Earth in such extreme environments. Our planet Earth is a place where life can be found even in very extreme and inhospitable places. For example, deep-sea hydrothermal vents are the foundation of an entire ecosystem, where organisms do not rely on sunlight but rather on the energy released from the Earth's core. They support themselves with energy. These organisms generate energy from chemical energy. This is called chemosynthesis, where bacteria convert chemical compounds like hydrogen sulfide into energy, which is also a source of food for these organisms. Similarly, life has also been discovered beneath the icy peaks of Antarctica. Traces of life have also been found in acidic hot springs and even in rocks found deep underground. These extremophiles are organisms that are able to survive even in extreme conditions. This shows that life adapts itself to almost every kind of environment, and in this way it is found almost everywhere on Earth. If life can be found in such extreme environments on Earth, then it's not hard to believe that traces of life like this could also exist on Pluto. If there really is a subsurface ocean on Pluto, then it could be an excellent source for life to develop there. Although this ocean would be extremely cold and filled with darkness, life will still find a way to adapt to such an environment. Just like Earth's extremophiles, they would also rely on chemical reactions for energy. Besides this, the ammonia and complex molecules found on Pluto indicate that the building block elements of life are also present on Pluto. On Earth, ammonia plays an important role in the formation of amino acids. Proteins are formed from amino acids and are the foundation of life. If similar chemical processes are happening on Pluto as well, then life like that on Earth could also be seen on Pluto. Must happen. Well, future missions and exploration, whatever we learned about Pluto from the New Horizon mission, those revelations were truly astonishing. This mission has further enhanced our understanding of Pluto. And there are also some new questions that often arise in our minds about the possibility of life on this distant world. To find answers to these questions, we will have to send missions to Pluto in the future. There is already an existing proposal to study Pluto, which is about sending an orbiter and a lander to Pluto. With the orbiter, Pluto can be studied in even more detail. Its atmosphere can be analyzed, surface mapping and the science of geological activities will be explored. Meanwhile, the other lander will give us direct measurements of Pluto's surface and subsurface. This will help us find signs of subsurface oceans on Pluto and the possibility of life there. Another potential mission could involve sending a probe into Pluto's atmosphere to study its surface and atmosphere. In this mission, advanced instruments will be used to determine the composition of Pluto's atmosphere and surface. After that, the focus will be on searching for organic molecules and compounds that either support life or indicate the possibility of life. Besides sending directly to Pluto in the future, by exploring the Kuiper belt, we can search for signs of life on the outer edges of the solar system. The Kuiper belt is filled with many more dwarf planets like Pluto. If we find any signs of life anywhere in the Kuiper belt, then Pluto becomes a target for life. That's why we must definitely go to Pluto in the coming decades. Because New Horizons has presented us with many such mysteries about it, the answers to which we are still searching for today. Did life take its first breath on Mars before Earth? Did life begin in the valleys of Mars before it started on Earth? The life that we see thriving on Earth today once migrated here from Mars in the past. And over time, due to the changes that occurred, we lost the memories of our past, and here, life began to write its story from the very foundation. These are not just a few questions, but matters of life and death for scientists who are searching for astronomy and extraterrestrial life. For many centuries, ever since humans became aware of space and other planets, scientists have been engaged in researching these subjects. In this context, these are not just a few simple questions, but much more than that. They are extremely complex and difficult matters of research. Look, we all know that science is the name of that bird, which tells us and explains the reasons behind any event and the effects that follow from it. Holding on to this very fabric of science, just a few decades ago, Sir Isaac Newton presented the theory of gravity to the world. Copernicus broke people's superstitions and made it clear that the Earth is not flat. In fact, it is round and not the center of the universe, but rather a planet itself, which revolves around the sun. Later, Galileo observed space with his own telescope and discovered that, just like the Earth, several other planets are also revolving around the sun. So, we were already aware of the existence of these planets, but this time we were able to see them with our own eyes. By the 20th century, humans' desire to know about the world beyond the clouds became even stronger, and we started talking about topics beyond stars and planets like aliens and exoplanets. Of course, all this was quite strange and new at that time. No one really understood much about it, and how could they? After all, these things were just the result of some imaginations and human minds in that era. But today, when we have this modern technology available to us, today when we know very well that in this infinite universe, life cannot be limited only to Earth, it is very possible that life exists on many other planets and moons besides Earth. In such a situation, our attention often turns towards Mars, the fourth planet of the solar system. After all, besides Mars, which other planet in the solar system is both suitable and unsuitable for supporting life, creates an atmosphere? Today, we'll offer a new perspective on viewing Martian life. Because today, we will explore the possibility that the life you see on Earth today was actually displaced from Mars a long time ago and came here to Earth. Whenever it comes to life outside of Earth, our eyes always turn to Mars. the fourth planet of the solar system, which appears bright red, whose atmosphere is extremely cold and freezing. Can it help sustain life? The search for the answer to this question has compelled scientists to explore this planet over the past 5 decades. Till today, we have carried out countless missions to Mars, through which we have continued to search for possibilities related to its history and future. In the days of the past, our solar system was witnessing many changes. On one hand, Mars lost its atmosphere and saw the complete destruction of the water that once existed there. On the other hand, certain coincidences on Earth led to the beginning of suitable conditions for the origin of life here. This was a very strange era, where on one hand, life was standing at the brink of extinction, while on the other hand, on another planet, life was on the verge of being born. Thanks to the research conducted on Mars over the past 5 decades, we have now reached the conclusion that millions of years ago, life definitely existed on the surface of Mars. Rivers used to flow there just like they do on present-day Earth. It could protect the water from the harmful ultraviolet rays coming from the sun. Also, there was an active greenhouse effect on Mars which allowed its surface to retain enough heat to keep water in liquid form. At that time, Mars averaged 12-13 degrees Celsius, which has now changed to freezing negative temperatures. Even though today we can't even imagine life on the surface of Mars, in history, it was a reality. Our studies and research so far make it clear that something did happen in the past, which destroyed life on Mars forever. This explains the end of life on Mars. There are many theories, but the most logical one is the solar photons infiltration theory. According to this, about 4 billion years ago, when the solar system was only a few 100 million years old, then one day, deadly radiation and ultraviolet photon particles suddenly erupted from the sun. It was a terrifying solar storm that scorched everything in its path. These charged particles of plasma coming from the sun, when they collided with Mars's outer layer, that is its atmosphere, they penetrated deep inside. After this, the atmosphere was severely damaged. Mars's atmosphere became completely filled with holes, which suddenly changed the atmospheric dynamics of Mars. Wow! Pressure started releasing from the surface and escaping into space, which caused an immense change in the temperature of the entire planet. Eventually, the result of this event was that all the heat and liquid water on the surface of Mars was destroyed. Meanwhile, there is also a strong possibility that the organisms connected to water perished at this very moment. According to our understanding, life first originated in the rivers and lakes that flowed on ancient Mars, just like it did about 3.7 billion years ago. Years ago, the earliest life forms were born here on Earth. If we look at the timeline of the existence of life on Mars and Earth side by side, we will find that actually the origin of life on Earth happened when life on Mars was almost on the verge of extinction. Coincidentally, or due to some specific reason, but the time of birth and death of life on both these planets is almost the same. The sequential occurrence of these two events in an order cannot be just a coincidence. When scientists kept this idea in mind and continued their research, they stationed on the surface of Mars. With Curiosity rover's help, they found organic molecules in a 3 billion year old sedimentary rock. Earlier too, Curiosity had detected traces of methane on Mars. Scientists have turned the suspicion of the existence of life on Mars into a belief. Especially Gale Crater on Mars is the place where continuous evidence of ancient life and rivers and lakes that once flowed on Mars has been found. When Curiosity and other Mars rovers studied these soil samples, many revelations came to light. From this, scientists found out that the Martian soil contains organic compounds like thiophene, benzene, toluene, and some small carbon chains such as propene and butene. Additionally, it is also noteworthy that the places where these organic compounds were found also have the presence of sulfur in the nearby soil. This suggests that millions of years ago, human-like cellular organisms emerged, marking humanity's origin. This somewhat matches the story that we told you at the beginning of this video. It sounds quite strange and shocking to hear that microbial life forms traveled from Mars and reached Earth. I mean, how is that even possible? Traveling all the way from Mars, covering such vast distances in space, and then reaching Earth. That means being able to survive after arriving at their new home. Just understanding this is astonishing. In fact, scientists still don't have any logical answer to this question. We only have hypotheses that try to explain it. According to some of these, a divine messenger named Anunnaki came to Earth from Mars, who gave birth to their own offspring, and they later emerged as humans and claimed their right over the entire Earth. And this is how humans were created. So this theory seems to be nothing more than a fictional story by a writer, while on the other hand, there is the meteorite theory. According to this, the meteorites coming to Earth from Mars contained not only water and other minerals, but also microbial forms of life. Whenever meteorites pierced through Earth's atmosphere and fell on its surface, within a few hundred years, they mixed with the soil here. As a result, the form of life they were carrying within themselves remained hidden. They began to release it onto the surface of the Earth. After that, those organic compounds initiated the beginning of life on Earth. Here, by coincidence, such an environment was created which allowed life to flourish, and that's how we got to see this form of Earth. The year 2016 was a very big day for space science, when Chile's La Silla Observatory discovered Proxima Centauri, the closest star to our Sun in our own galaxy, and along with it, a planet orbiting around it. Further studies told us that this planet, which we have named Proxima b, life could also exist here. Because this planet is almost the same size as our Earth, its geography might be similar to Earth's. But the most convincing idea about life here is this. Further studies about Proxima b being in the habitable zone tell us that this exoplanet is in the habitable zone of its parent star Proxima Centauri. Astronomers have recently claimed in research done on Proxima b that there are favorable conditions for life on Proxima b. That means the possibility of life here is much higher. But the question that comes to all of our minds is whether alien life could exist here. After all, what are the conditions that make life possible there, and what are the conditions that make the chances of life impossible there? So let's go on today's journey to our neighboring star. And during this journey, we will encounter many things. First of all, from this entire star system, because Proxima Centauri is part of a star system that has 3 stars orbiting each other. The biggest star in this entire system is Alpha Centauri A, which is bigger, brighter, and older than our Sun. According to astronomers, this star is about 10% heavier than our Sun and about 25% bigger in size. Next is Alpha Centauri b, the companion star to Alpha Centauri A. You can treat these two stars like a binary star system. Both these stars are almost the same, but this star is a little smaller in size than Alpha Centauri A. Both stars form a binary star system. That's why they are completely gravitationally linked, and there is a distance of 23 astronomical units between them. Here, let me tell you that 1 astronomical unit is the distance between our Sun and the Earth. This distance may seem very large, but if you look at it on an astronomical scale, it's nothing at all. For comparison, the last planet in our solar system, Neptune, is located at a distance of 19 astronomical units from the Sun. That means the star systems Alpha, Centauri A and B could easily fit within our solar system. Because the distance between these two stars is quite small, scientists believe that both stars must have formed in the same place. And it's possible that they've been gravitationally bound to each other from the very beginning. But you'll be quite surprised to know that the Alpha Centauri C star, which we also call Proxima Centauri, doesn't have a situation like this at all. So let's head over to Proxima Centauri. This star is much smaller in size compared to the other 2 stars, and it also orbits around those 2 stars. The orbit of this star around the Alpha Centauri A and B star system is highly elliptical. Currently, it is located about 13,000 astronomical units away from both stars, which is quite a large distance. Just like in our solar system, comets often have highly eccentric orbits. This star also resembles a similar kind of orbit, because when this star is closest to the other 2 stars, its distance at that time from its companion stars is about 4,300 astronomical units, which is extremely large. Scientists studied this star's nature very closely and concluded concluded that it is possible that, in the distant past, billions of years ago, Proxima Centauri wasn't in this star system. Originally, only Alpha Centauri A and B were present. These were the only two stars in the binary system. System orbiting each other, and then this star system with its gravity captured this poor star passing by. So the answer is that the star is the closest to Earth. Proxima word comes from proximity or proximal meaning closeness. That's why the star is called Proxima Centauri. Such a star will remain at its current distance, which is quite a short distance by today's standards. For now, even this distance is too much for us, but who knows how much progress we will have made in 27,000 years. Who knows, maybe we will be able to take advantage of that upcoming opportunity. First, a planet named Proxima b was discovered, and recently there have been speculations about some other planets around it as well. So here, we will talk only about Proxima b because this is a fact and it has been confirmed several times, 0.05 astronomical units away. And that's the reason why this planet orbits its star in just 11.2 Earth days. That means a year on Proxima b is equal to 11 days on Earth. Now you can imagine how close Proxima b is to its star. For reference, the first planet of our solar system, Mercury, is located about 0.4 astronomical units away from the Sun. But Proxima b is at a distance of 0.05 astronomical units. It would be terrible, just like hell. But surprisingly, the situation here is completely different. Because the star that Proxima b is orbiting is much smaller compared to our Sun, about 12% of the mass of our Sun, and its average surface temperature is around 5,000 degrees Celsius. That's why Proxima Centauri also receives 60% less energy compared to Earth. Apart from this, the habitable zone also depends on the size of the star. The smaller the star, the closer its habitable zone will be, just like in the case of Proxima Centauri. In our solar system, the habitable zone begins at Venus's orbit, but Proxima's planet is similarly close to its star. Here, these conditions on Proxima b are favorable for life, but that's not enough. Now, we already know that from our perspective, Proxima b meets the most important requirement for life because it's in the habitable zone. But there are some other conditions here as well that are necessary for life to develop here. But maybe those are missing. Here is the first one on the list: this planet's star. Is tidally locked to its star. Cause it's so close, there's a very high chance that This planet rotates on its axis in a synchronous orbit. This planet rotates on its axis in orbit. This planet rotates on its axis in a synchronous orbit. This planet rotates on its axis in a synchronous orbit. But what if Proxima is also a complete ocean planet? A planet where there's nothing but water, not even land to set foot on. In that case, the conditions of that planet would depend on the amount of carbon dioxide present there. If the carbon dioxide present there is in exactly the same proportion as it is here on our Earth, then Proxima would also be a completely liquid world. But if for any reason you end up in such extreme conditions there, then do make sure to watch this playlist on our channel. Anyway, if we talk about Proxima b, what kind of planet would it be? It will completely depend on the amount of carbon monoxide present there, and based on that, this planet could be habitable or not. Scientists estimate that Proxima b has an atmosphere and its temperature would be around 30 degrees Celsius. But even if we assume that its atmosphere is not like Earth's, still, the conditions there, whether it's a tidally locked planet, a terrestrial planet, or an eyeball planet, it's possible that life could originate there. But scientists are worried about a disaster that poses the biggest threat to any life present there, and their intensity is so high that they could wipe out the atmosphere on Proxima b in a single event. Not only that, but every trace of life present there as well. These solar flares can wipe it out, but it can also withstand solar flares. If it has a proper atmosphere, or if Proxima b planet has a magnetic field like our Earth, then Proxima b planet can also survive this disaster. Just like Earth's magnetosphere protects us from the sun's dangerous radiation, if there is a magnetosphere there as well, then the existence of life can be imagined there. But currently, we don't have any technology that can help us find out whether something like that actually exists there or not. In the future, if our technology improves, we might see results that we can't even imagine right now. But for now, all of this is just theories. With their help, we're trying to understand planets like Proxima b. It's not just a word, but a feeling, one that stays with us Earthlings every moment. Because on this life-giving Earth, we've received an amazing gift called Jinky, who gazes at the sky through a telescope. For these scientists, discovering planets like Earth is their main objective. Just a few light years away from our solar system, there are many star systems that have Earth-like planets. The chance of habitable planets existing is much higher. Almost 30 years have passed since the first exoplanet was discovered in 1992. In these 3 decades, the search for life on another planet beyond Earth has accelerated significantly. Space agencies and radio astronomers around the world are engaged in the search for these nearby exoplanets, where conditions support life. Scientists have named these planets super-Earths since most of them are much larger in size compared to Earth. Companion. The studies conducted on these so far clearly indicate that either life already exists here or we humans can sow the seeds of life here. So come, let's take a journey through this dense dark space where you and I together will witness these life-hosting exoplanets. At the top of this list is Kepler Object of Interest 5715.01, which is about 1,000 light years from Earth. This planet, located at a distance from Earth, is in a super habitable state to host life because it has all the factors needed to trigger the seed of life. These are the same things we see here on Earth, whether it's the presence of liquid water or oxygen gas flowing in the atmosphere. Our observations and spectral studies so far indicate that life can not only emerge on this planet, but it can also thrive very well. Some scientists even believe that the emergence of life on this planet would be easier and more convenient than on Earth. This planet is orbiting its star in a habitable zone. Because of this, the temperature here is neither too high nor too low. This could be a major reason for the presence of liquid water on its surface. As we've told you many times before, humans' perception of life is completely relatable. Now, because we see life in such creatures that breathe, have blood flowing in their veins, and depend on their microbiology for their survival. That's why whenever we search for life beyond Earth, our perception is set on finding some microbial life form, and the atmosphere of this planet seems quite suitable for nurturing such forms of life. The star system this planet is a part of is about 5 billion years old, which means it's about 1 billion years older than our Sun. Another special thing about this planet is that it fits perfectly into the size category of a super Earth. Scientists estimate this planet is 1.5 times heavier and about 10% larger than Earth. The difference in size and mass between Earth and this exoplanet is actually a good thing in some ways. In fact, if this planet's average surface temperature is 5 degrees Celsius higher than Earth's, we would see extremely high biodiversity here. Is it true, and does this newly discovered exoplanet really meet the criteria for life? Al's exoplanet. This planet, Kepler-69c, located about 2,700 light-years from Earth, is a remarkable world in itself. Life on this exoplanet, which is about 7 billion years old, is like a puzzle that remains unsolved. Caught in the struggle to find life? When scientists began their research on extraterrestrial life, they discovered many surprising things. Actually, when researchers related the biology of life forms present on Earth with the conditions of the cosmos, they found out that if life is developing or on the verge of developing on any exoplanet in this universe for hundreds of millions of years, it would have remained in a continuous stage of transformation and evolution during this period. At times, blazing hydrogen and helium gases dominated its surface, while at other times, massive volcanoes roared here. Sometimes like this. If life has developed on any planet since the Big Bang explosion about 13.7 billion years ago until today, it would exist within this 59 billion years window. Well, if we talk about Kepler-69c in terms of size, this planet is about 4 times bigger than our Earth. Now the question here is, how can life possibly develop after such a massive explosion? Because of this, on such a massive planet, there probably won't be a wide variety of landforms either. However, just like the corners far from the desert, there will be places all around this planet where conditions could be favorable for life. Whether that's in the form of surface water or not, a study was performed and scholars are still reviewing its results. Scientists studying exoplanets are especially optimistic about this planet. They believe that if they use extremely powerful and precise observatories like James Webb for further studies, the results could be even more promising. Kepler 1126b has secured the 3rd place in the list of planets that could potentially sprout the seed of life. Its name is somewhat similar to Kepler-69c, and this planet is located at almost the same distance. Yes, this planet is very different from Earth because its atmosphere is extremely hot. Yes, its surface is so hot because of its Goldilocks zone, or more simply, its orbit. Despite sharing our type of orbit, this planet remains in the star's habitable zone. However, till now, scientists have not performed any detailed study or research on it. Because of this, we have not been able to find out its structure till now. Till now, we don't know whether this planet actually has a rocky surface or not. Maybe its structure is made only of gases and oceans. Anyway, let's move on. On this exoplanet named Speculoos 2c, well, this planet is located only 106 light years away from Earth. It's really quite close, although even with this short distance, it's still too far for us. Even if we travel at the fastest speed ever achieved by humans in space, it would still take 200,000 years to reach here. Seriously, that's such a long time that it's impossible to even imagine this journey. You'll be surprised to know that it's only been 200,000 years since the entire human race came into existence. So even if we set out for this planet tomorrow, it would take us just as many years to get there. And that too, irrespective of realities. Anyway, contrary to all this, Speculoos 2c is actually an optimistic world. This planet, about 40% larger than Earth in size, is undoubtedly a planet. Like Earth, its surface is also made up of solid rocks. Although it is in the habitable zone of its star carries only 15% of the mass of our sun. That's why other planets are orbiting it from a very close distance. This extremely short distance also brings an unwanted possibility, and that is tidal locking. Yes, it might be possible that Speculoos 2c is tidally locked to its parent star, and if that's really the case, then surely this is going to be bad news. Because if that happens, one side of this planet will always face its sun, and the other side will always remain in complete darkness. This will create a massive temperature difference here, which is not a good sign for the habitability of life. Of all these exoplanets, which do you find most promising? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you like this video, be sure to share it with your friends.